And then,
You're just gonna record.
How's everybody doing today? Good. Get ready to get started in a second. We apologize for the delay. Those that are online. It's happened.
this one, right? This is
The big button.
let me make sure it's that. It's zoomed in. Yeah. Zoom it out.
Better?
Okay, again. I want to say good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. To those that are online, it's always a blessing to have you join in with us on our time of worship. And having said that, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get started. Now face Jerusalem, so we can open up. The women will cover their heads, and then we'll uncover their heads.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
Thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory.
forever.
Forever.
Praise the Lord,
Praise the Lord.
for he is good,
For he is good,
for his mercy endureth forever.
for his mercy endureth forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
for he is good,
For he is good,
and his mercy endureth forever.
and his mercy endureth forever.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
The King of Kings,
The King of
the
Kings,
Lord of Lords,
the Lord of Lords,
the Ancient of Days,
the Ancient of Days,
our Savior
our Savior,
and our Redeemer.
and our Redeemer.
Amen.
Amen.
Today's scripture reading will come from the Gospel according to John, chapter 15, beginning at verse 23. He that hateth me hateth my Father also. If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had seen. But now they have both seen and hated both me and my Father. But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled, that it is written in the law. They hated me without a cause. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceeded from the Father, he shall testify of me. I just read to you from the Gospel according to John, chapter 15, verses 23 through 26. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. First, giving honor to the Most High God, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and as always, it's a blessing anytime that I can share God's word. I'm truly thankful for having this opportunity today to do so. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get started with today's lesson. And the title is Angels, Spirit Beings, some good and some evil. Over the next few weeks, we're going to look at the different spirits in the Bible. And in this lesson, we're going to take a look at angels, which are spirit beings. And we're going to look at the nature of these beings, because Jesus told us those who are blessed to take part in the resurrection will be like the angels, in that they won't die. They will be given in marriage. And man, in some ways, parallel angels in that both were created by God and both were given free will. And both are required by God to be obedient to his commandments. And just as you have men who have elected not to obey God, you have angels who have elected to disobey God, and thus you have what's known as evil angels. We're going to see in the course of this lesson, as I stated, that angels are spirit beings that were created by Jesus. And looking at the nature of these angels, we're going to see that angels, unlike men, do not reproduce or procreate, and that they cannot die, being that they are eternal beings. That is why the lake of fire was created, to serve as punishment for the evil angels. And we're going to see how angels, and look and see how angels appear unto man. And that is mostly in the form of a man. Angels never take on the form of a female, as depicted in art. Oftentimes when you see people paint angels, they're always depicting them as women. In the Bible, angels never appear as female. They will appear sometimes as men. Also, we're going to look at some of the examples of the extraordinary strength of these spirit beings. And we're going to see that when God created angels, he gave them free will, just as he did when he created man. And as I stated, as a result of this free will, you have some angels that are elected not to obey God, Satan, and those that follow him. And they are what's known as the evil angels. And we're going to see that Satan does not compete with God. People often think that it is a struggle, a battle between God and Satan. God is in total control. Satan can only do what God allows him to do. And we're going to see the fate that awaits these evil angels and when it will take place, when they're going to receive their punishment. We're going to start this lesson off in John, the 1st chapter. And again, the title is Angels, Spirit Beings, some good and some evil. And here John lets us know that it was Jesus who created all things. John 1:1. You go ahead when you get there.
In the beginning was the Word.
Go ahead.
And the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
So you have two in the beginning. That's representing the Godhead. You have the one known as the Word, and that's none other than Jesus. We're going to find Jesus is called the Word because he was the spokesperson for the Godhead. So it said in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So you have God with God, the Father and the Son. But go ahead, verse number 2.
The same was in the beginning with God.
And what was it that the one that was known as the Word, what did he do? Go ahead.
All things were made by him. And without him was not anything made that was made.
All that was created was created by this one that was known as the Word. We're going to find out that was none other than Jesus. Because what happened to the one that was known as the Word? Jump down to verse number 14. Go ahead.
And the Word was made flesh.
And did what?
And dwelt among us.
Go ahead.
And we beheld his glory. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
So the God that was known as the Word, the one who created all things, took on the form of a flesh and blood man. He walked this earth. The Creator became part of the creation. Turn over to Colossians, the 1st chapter. Colossians, the 1st chapter. And we're going to see why Jesus took on the form of a flesh and blood man. Colossians 1. And pick it up at verse number 12. Colossians 1:12. Go ahead when you get there.
Giving thanks unto the Father,
Who's done what?
which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light.
So Paul is saying we need to give thanks unto the Father who's qualified us to share in the inheritance of what Jesus received, that being his kingdom. Verse number 13, he tells us further what it is that he's done for us. Go ahead.
Who hath delivered us from the power of darkness, and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son.
So he's letting us know that we've escaped the punishment that we had coming as a result of our sin. He said he's delivered us from the power of darkness. He said and has translated us. He's placed us in the kingdom as if it's already taken place. Translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom what?
In whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins.
Jesus had to take on the form of a flesh and blood man because he had to shed his blood for the forgiveness of our sins. God is a spirit, and spirits cannot die. So again, he took on the form of a flesh and blood man to shed his blood for the forgiveness of our sins. Verse 15, go ahead.
Who is the image of the invisible God.
He calls him the invisible God, talking about the Father, because Jesus tells us in John, talking about the Father, you neither seen his shape nor heard his voice at any time. Jesus is the only God that man has known. He said, who is the image of the invisible God? Go ahead.
The firstborn of every creature.
The first to be born from the dead. That's when he became the true. When he came up out of the grave. Because he came, Jesus died as a flesh and blood man. But he was raised as spirit being. He said, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature? Who did what?
For by him were all things created.
All things were created by him. Again, Paul is confirming what we read in John, the first chapter. All things were created by Jesus. Go ahead.
That are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible.
Go ahead.
Whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him.
All things were created by Jesus. John tells you in Revelation that they were created, and the reason they were created for his pleasure. All things, he said, was created by him. Verse 17, go ahead.
And he is before all things.
Because he was God in the beginning. He had to be there to bring everything into existence. He said, and he is before all things. Go ahead.
And by him all things consist.
All things were made by him. Turn over to Psalms 148. And we will see that which was created by him included the angels. Psalms 148. Here David is telling us that all things of God's creation is to give him praise. And that includes the angels. Go ahead, 148, and pick it up at verse number 1. 148 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord from the heavens.
Go ahead.
Praise him in the heights.
You praise him from the highest heights. Go ahead.
Praise ye him, all his angels. Praise ye him, all his hosts.
He said, you praise him. He said, all his angels. Go ahead.
Praise ye him, sun and moon. Praise him, all ye stars of light.
He said, let the creation acknowledge him. Go ahead. Verse 4.
Praise him, ye heavens of heavens, and ye waters that be above the heavens.
And now he's telling you, why does he want everything to praise the Lord? Go ahead.
Let them praise the name of the Lord.
Why?
For he commanded, and they were created.
Everything was created by Jesus. And that includes the angels. Turn over to Psalms 104. And we're going to see one of the reasons the angels, one of the roles that they have. Not all angels do the same thing. But in particular here, David tells us what the angels were created for. One of the duties that they have. Psalms 104, pick it up at verse number 1. 104 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God.
Go ahead.
Thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty.
You're to give him honor, but go ahead.
Who coverest thyself with light as with a garment. Who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain.
He's the one that created the heavens and the earth, so we know that we're talking about none other than Jesus. Go ahead. What else did he do?
Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the water. Who maketh the clouds his chariot.
Go ahead.
Who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers of flaming fire.
So his angels are serving spirits. His angels, spirit, they are spirit beings. He said, and his ministers are flaming by their serving spirits. They're to minister to those who are to be the heirs of salvation, but not turn over to Luke, the 20th chapter. Because we're going to look at the nature of these spirit beings. Because Jesus lets us know that those who are fortunate enough to come up in the resurrection will be similar in nature. Now the Sadducees, in an attempt to trip up Jesus, because he had been established of a man of Israel, took a wife, and she bore him no child. And if he died, then the brother of that man was to take that wife and they were to have a child and raise him up in his name. So they come up with this, what they thought was a deep question concerning the resurrection to trip Jesus up. And as it went, it was 7 brothers. The first had a wife, he died, and the other 6 had her also to wife. And none had a child by her. They're going to ask Jesus, who did this woman belong to in the resurrection? Luke 20, pick it up at verse number 33. Luke 20 and 33, you go ahead when you get there.
Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife of them is she? For 7 had her to wife.
So they think they came out with a real deep question for Jesus. What did Jesus tell them? Go ahead.
And Jesus answering said unto them,
Uh-huh.
The children of this world marry and are given in marriage.
Talking about flesh and blood man. The reason when the covenant of marriage was for the purpose of bringing forth children under that institution. The first thing that God commissioned man was to do was to be fruitful and to multiply. And he gave man the covenant of marriage for which that was to be carried out under. He said, now the children of this world, they marry and are given in marriage. They are to procreate or reproduce. But what about the angels? Go ahead.
But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that word and the resurrection from the dead.
Neither what?
Neither marry nor are given in marriage.
So those that come up in the resurrection, those that are born again, surely when they become the Son of God, he said, those that are accounted worthy to obtain the world to come and the resurrection from the dead, they neither will marry or are given in marriage. Neither what?
Neither can they die anymore.
Because they'll be a spirit being, and spirits cannot die. Go ahead.
For they are equal unto the angels, and are the children of God,
being what?
being the children of the resurrection.
See, angels don't procreate, they don't reproduce. There's no need for them to do that because they don't die, they are eternal beings. God created them. So that's a myth, that doctrine that come up that said there were giants in the earth because an angel slept with women. Giants occur because of genes, genetics. If giants came as a result of angels sleeping with women, then where did little people come from? Who did they parents sleep with? Ain't got nothing to do with no angels. Angels don't engage in that manner. Are spirit beings and they live forever. They do not die. They were created. Turn to Mark, the 16th chapter. And being a spirit being, they can take on different forms. And often in the Bible, they would appear as men. You'll never read, there's nowhere in the Bible that an angel appeared as a female. But at times, they will appear as a male. Mark 16, that was the case here. Mary, Magdalene, and the other Mary were headed to the sepulchre to anoint the body of Jesus. And they're going to encounter what Mark calls a young man. We're going to see what took place. Mark 16 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
And when the Sabbath was passed, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome had bought sweet spices, that they might come and anoint him.
Now notice when they say the Sabbath had already passed. Now Jesus is already gone. There's no such thing as Resurrection Sunday. He said the Sabbath was past, and Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, they had brought spices because they was going to anoint the body. Verse number 2, go ahead.
And very early in the morning, the first day of the week,
Uh-huh.
they came unto the sepulchre at the rising of the sun.
Go ahead.
And they said among themselves,
They questioned among themselves because they knew that they were going to have to deal with this great stone that was at the opening of the sepulchre. Go ahead.
who shall roll us away the stone from the door of the sepulchre?
Well, what happened?
And when they looked, they saw that the stone was rolled away, for it was very great.
So the stone had already been.
And entering into the sepulchre,
Uh-huh.
they saw a young man sitting on the right side,
Go ahead.
clothed in a long white garment,
And what?
and they were affrighted.
So they was afraid of this young man that they saw. We're going to find out why they were afraid. They said they came into the sepulchre. They say the stone had already been rolled away. And there was a young man just sitting there. But they say he was clothed in a long white garment. And they say they were frightened. They were afraid. And what did he tell?
And he said unto them,
Uh-huh.
be not affrighted.
Go ahead.
He seek Jesus of Nazareth,
Uh-huh.
which was crucified.
Go ahead.
He is risen. He is not here. Behold, the place where they laid him.
So he told this young man, told him, look, Jesus is not here. He's already risen. But turn over to Matthew, the 28th chapter, because we're going to look at Matthew's account of the same thing. We're going to find out that this young man, who Mark referred to as a young man, was not an ordinary man. This was an angel. We're going to see why they were afraid. Matthew 28, pick it up at verse number 1. 28 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to come toward the first day of the week,
Go ahead.
came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
So we see that that's an account of the same encounter. Go ahead.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven,
And did what?
and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
So he's the one that took away the stone that they was worried about how they were going to move that stone because it was a great stone. So it said the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone. He said he sat upon it. But now how did this angel look? Go ahead.
His countenance was like light, and his raiment white as snow.
So he said his countenance, in nature, his appearance, he shined. He said his countenance was like lightning. He said his raiment was white as snow. And what?
And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men.
And that's when Mary and them saw him, they were afraid. But turn over to Exodus, first chapter. Because the same thing happened with Moses. Moses, being in the presence of God, started to take on the appearance of a spirit being. Now, he had been in the mount with God for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, he's descending down from the mount with the 10 Commandments, unaware of the changes that had taken place with him. Exodus 34, and pick it up at verse number 29. Exodus 34 and 29. You go ahead when you get there.
And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai,
Go ahead.
with the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hand. When he came down from the mount,
What?
that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him.
See, Moses was unaware of what was taking place with him physically. That he had a change in his countenance, a change in his appearance. He said when he came down from the mount, Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone when he talked with him. And how did they react to Moses? Go ahead.
And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
Just like the keepers were afraid of those angels. Mary, Magdalene, and the other Mary, they were afraid because of the appearance of this spirit being. He began to shine. And again, being a spirit being, they're going to take on any form that they wish. Remember when Jesus came out of the grave, And Peter them, you read it in Luke, the 24th chapter. They were all dejected, walking about, and Jesus came among them and began to talk to them. They didn't say they were afraid of Jesus. Matter of fact, they say, are you a stranger in these parts? You don't know what's taking place? So spirit beings can take on any form. And in this particular case, they took on the form of a man. But their countenance, they shone, they were shining. Not all cases do spirit beings have to shine. That's what Paul says. You are to entertain strangers because you might be entertaining an angel unawares. But if somebody's shining, ain't no question. You know what that is. Turn over to Ezekiel, the 1st chapter. Because I say they can take on the appearance of a man, but we're going to look at them in their natural appearance. Because generally, now it tells you married them, they were afraid. But sometimes you can read when men encounter angels, they don't just be afraid, they pass out. As in the case of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 1 and 1. Ezekiel 1 and 1. Because we're going to see what the angels look like in their natural state. Because here Ezekiel was given a vision. Go ahead.
As in the 30th year in the 4th month,
Uh-huh.
the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Kibar.
Now remember this place. Because we're going to refer back to this. So Ezekiel said that he was amongst the captives. He said about the rivers of Shebar. Go ahead.
The heavens were open, and I saw visions of God.
Drop down to verse number 4. We're going to see what it is that Ezekiel saw. Go ahead.
And I looked, and behold,
Uh-huh.
a whirlwind came out of the north,
Go
a
ahead.
great cloud and a fire enfolding itself,
Uh-huh.
and a brightness was about, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire.
Go ahead. Verse number 5.
Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures,
Uh-huh.
and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man,
Go ahead.
and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings.
So now Ezekiel is seeing what he refers to as a creature. He said, there came the likeness of, notice, there's 4 of them. 4 living creatures. He said the appearance, they say one, they had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. So we know there's not an ordinary man that Ezekiel is looking at. He's looking at a being that has 4 faces with wings. Verse number 7, go ahead.
And their feet were straight feet,
Uh-huh.
and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot,
Go ahead.
and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass.
What else did they have?
They had the hands of a man under their wings
Uh-huh.
on their 4 sides,
Go ahead.
and they 4 had their faces and their wings.
So we're going to find out that these are angels that Ezekiel is seeing. And notice there's 4 of them. Jump down to verse number 26, and we're going to find out what's above these angels. Go ahead.
And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne,
Uh-huh.
as the appearance of a sapphire stone.
Go ahead.
And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it.
And this man that was above this throne was none other than the Lord himself. And these 4 angels are underneath him because they're carrying him. But go ahead. Verse 27.
And I saw as the color of amber,
Uh-huh.
as the appearance of fire round about within it.
Go ahead.
From the appearance of his loins even up, and from the appearance of his loins even down. I
Uh-huh.
saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about, as the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain.
And that bowl just symbolized, remember when the Lord flooded the earth as a symbol, sign that he would never do that again in terms of drowning man, and that was the rainbow. He said the appearance of a bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. Go ahead.
This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord.
Uh-huh.
When I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake.
What Ezekiel saw was the Lord being carried by these cherub angels. Remember, when the Lord told Moses to make the tabernacle, he had him to make the Ark of the Covenant. And above the Ark of the Covenant was the mercy seat. The mercy seat was where God resided. That mercy seat had two cherubim angels that faced one another, and the wings covered the mercy seat. Again, he made it in the pattern of what was taking place in heaven. What Ezekiel was seeing is the Lord being carried by these four cherub angels. Because remember, in the Ark of the Covenant, you had four rings at each corner. You had a ring at each corner, and there was staves to be put in those rings. And the stage was used by the priests. They covered the ark. They carried the Ark of the Covenant here on this earth. But it was the cherubim angels that carried the Lord. Go right into the second chapter. Because it said, Ezekiel, he said he fell on his face. I'm sorry, he said, I fell upon my face. I heard a voice of one that spake. Go right into the second chapter. We're going to see clearly what these creatures are that Ezekiel saw. But I say, sometimes when men saw angels, they weren't just afraid, they passed out. 2 and 1. Go ahead, read that for me.
And he said unto me, Son of man,
go ahead.
stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee.
Ezekiel saw what he saw, he passed out. He said unto me, Son of man, stand upon your feet. He said, I will speak unto you. Go ahead.
And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet.
Go ahead.
I heard him that spake unto me.
Turn over to Ezekiel the 10th chapter. He had to revive Ezekiel from what it is that he had saw. Ezekiel the 10th chapter. See, people casually talking about what they saw, what they talked to, and all that. No. That's never the case. Ezekiel 10. And we're going to see that what Ezekiel saw by the river Chebar were angels in their natural state. Ezekiel 10, and pick it up at verse number 20. Ezekiel 10 and 20. He's going to tell us, get right to the heart of the matter. He's going to tell you what it was that he saw concerning these four creatures. Go ahead.
This is the living creature that I saw under the God of Israel by the river Chebar, and I knew that they were the cherub.
These were cherub angels that Ezekiel witnessed, that had these wings and cast feet. You can read in Isaiah the 6th chapter. We can't read it all. Isaiah the 6th chapter called some angels seraphim. In Revelation, it tells you that these angels have eyes all over their wings. I can't speak for nobody else. I don't want to see nothing. All I want, when it comes to understanding, let me read it and understand in the Word. There are things that are beyond our comprehension. And people sometimes want to act real spiritual and like they're really close to God. I don't want to be that close. I don't want to see nothing that I ain't supposed to see. And I'll just be straight honest with you. I was in a situation where a person told me to look. I'm like, I'm not looking. I'm not going to look. I don't want to see anything. Because I know every time somebody saw something, they had a problem. He said, this is the living creature of the God of Israel by the river of Chebar. And I knew that they were the cherubim. Go ahead.
Everyone had 4 faces apiece, and everyone 4 wings.
Go ahead.
And the likeness of the hands of a man was under their wings.
Now you gonna see something like this, and you ain't had no drugs, you ain't had nothing to drink. You got a problem. Because what you said, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to see nothing. Because look, what you're saying to yourself is, I must be losing my mind. I'm hallucinating. Ezekiel saw that. Ezekiel passed out. Every time you read about somebody seeing these angels, they pass out. He said everyone got 4 faces, everyone got 4 wings. Look, I have problems when I have a bad dream and have a hard time waking up from it. Sometimes you dream, you're dreaming, and then you think you didn't woke up and Well, maybe y'all don't have that experience. That's what I tell you. I ain't trying to see nothing. Go ahead, verse number 22.
And the likeness of their faces was the same faces which I saw by the river Kebar. Their appearances and themselves, they went every one straight forward.
When the Lord travels, see, like a plane. If a plane is going forward, he has to do what they call, they have to bank to make a turn. Lord, don't do that. Please travel with these angels underneath him. They're going forward, and they can make a 90-degree turn going the other way, because they have 4 faces. Their faces is facing in every direction, and they got wings on every side. So that's how they move about. But turn over to 2 Kings. Because you can be in the presence of angels. They can be all around you. And you never know that they are there. Remember, in Daniel, Belshazzar had took the vessels of the temple of the Lord, him and his cohorts, and they were drinking to these false gods. And all of a sudden, they say a hand came and just started writing on the plaster of the wall. All they saw was the hand. But that hand belonged to an angel. They can appear in different forms, or they can be in your presence. You can be in the presence of an angel and not even realize it. And that is the case we're going to try it here. Because the Syrians were at war with Israel. And the Lord was letting Elisha know of the traps that the Syrians were setting for Israel. And Israel, he was telling the king, and he was avoiding capture. So the Syrians thought that they had a traitor amongst themselves, and the man let them know that it was Elisha that was doing that. 2 Kings, we're going to pick it up at verse number 8. But they're going to come wanting to get Elisha. Go ahead. 6 and 8.
Then the king of Syria warred against Israel, and took counsel with his servants, saying,
What?
and such a place shall be my camp. The man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place.
Why?
For thither the Syrians are come down.
So when the Syrians were setting up their trap, Israel, then it said the man of God, he was warning the king of Israel, don't go that way, because the Syrians are laying in wait for you. Go ahead.
And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice.
Go ahead.
Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, tell me which of us is for the king of Israel.
He said, look who's betraying me amongst us. Who's telling the king of Israel what it is that I'm doing so that he can avoid this trap. What they tell him? Go ahead.
And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet that is in Israel. Telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber.
He said, you got one that's telling the king of Israel what it is that you are doing. This Elisha, go ahead, verse 13.
And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan.
So they come looking for him. Go ahead.
Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots, and a great host. And they came by night and compassed the city about.
Go ahead.
And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, and hosts compassed the city, both with horses and chariots.
What did his servant tell him?
And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do?
He said, what we going to do? He looked out, he see all these men surrounding me. Well, what did he tell him? What did Elisha tell him? Go ahead.
And he answered, fear not. But they that be with us are more than they be within.
So you know that young man, he's looking at him and saying, look, you talk about they that be with us, ain't nobody but just you and me. But what did Elisha do? Go ahead.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee,
go ahead.
Open his eyes that he may see.
What did the Lord do?
And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about it.
So the Syrians, they had surrounded Elisha, but they didn't realize they had somebody surrounding them. That's why he said, don't be afraid, because they that be with us are more than they that be with them. He prayed, and the Lord opened that young man's eyes. And all you saw was these angels round about. Turn over to Psalm 68. Because the chariots of fire were none other than the angels of the Lord. Psalm 68, one verse. 68 and 17. What are the chariots of God? Go ahead.
The chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels.
That's what the young man saw that was surrounding the city. He said the chariots of God, he said, are 20,000, even thousands of angels. Go ahead.
The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place.
Turn over to 2 Chronicles. I'm sorry, 1 Chronicles. The 21st chapter. Because angels are extremely powerful beings. And we're going to see what happened when David was moved to number Israel. And that was an offense unto the Lord. It was a sin, and the Lord is going to give David a choice of punishment. 1 Chronicles 21. We're going to pick it up at verse number 7. 21 and 7. You go here when you get there.
And God was displeased with this thing.
Again, because David had numbered the people. The Lord had told him, don't do that. Go ahead.
Therefore he smote Israel. And David said unto God,
Go ahead.
I have sinned greatly, because I have done this thing. But now I beseech thee, do away the iniquity of thy servant.
Go ahead.
I have done very foolish. And the Lord spake unto Gad, David's seer, saying,
Then what did he tell him to do?
Go and tell David, saying, Thus saith the Lord,
Go ahead.
I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee.
So now David is going to have to choose amongst these 3 punishments that the Lord is offering unto him. Go ahead. So what are the 3 punishments that David gets to choose from?
So Gad came to David and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, choose thee either 3 years famine, or 3 months to be destroyed before thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtake thee.
Or what?
Or else 3 days the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land.
He said, you got these choices. Either you're going to have 3 years of starvation, or 3 months you're going to be chased by your enemies and be overtaken by them. Or 3 days, the sword of the Lord. He said, even the pestilence in the land. And the angel of the Lord doing what?
And the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coast of Israel.
He said, now these are the choices. Go ahead.
Now therefore advise thyself what word I shall bring again to him that sent me. And David
what
said,
was David's reply?
And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait.
I'm in a rock between a rock and a hard place here. He understood what he needed to do. He said, even though what's the choice? All of it bad. But what did David say?
Let me fall now into the hand of the Lord.
On the Lord's mercy. He ain't merciful at all. He said, let me fall now into the hand of the Lord. He said, for greater his mercy. For what?
Let me not fall into the hand of man.
So what did the Lord do?
So the Lord sent pestilence upon Israel. There fell of Israel 70,000 men.
That angel came through there and killed 70,000 of Israel. Go ahead.
And God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy. And as he was destroyed,
go ahead.
The Lord beheld.
Notice what he said. He didn't say he sent an angel. He sent an angel to destroy. He said he was destroying, and the Lord, he beheld him. In other words, he stopped him from continuing to destroy Israel. Go ahead.
And he repented him of the evil. And said to the angel that destroyed,
go ahead.
It is enough.
But hey, it killed 70,000 people. Go ahead.
Stay now thine hand. The angel of the Lord stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite.
Because he would have kept killing if the Lord had told him to stop. Because angels are serving spirits. They obey God. He said, he told him he repented of the evil and said unto the angels that destroyed, it's enough. Stay now, thine hand. Turn over to Isaiah, the 37th chapter. We're going to see another example of the power of these angels. Because the Syrians that came to attack Judah. And they had this one general who was talking really just blaspheming against God. Because he was telling Israel not to listen to Hezekiah. He said, who is that God that's going to deliver you from my hand? And he went on to tell them about how he had conquered all the people that was around and how their gods could not deliver them. And so the Lord had a message for him. Isaiah 37. We're going to pick it up at verse number 5. Isaiah 37 and verse 5. Go ahead when you get there.
So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah. And Isaiah said unto them,
What did he tell?
Thus shall ye say unto your master,
What?
Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid of the words that thou hast heard, wherewith the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me.
He said, don't be afraid of what this man is talking about. He ain't going to even shoot an arrow into this city. Go ahead.
Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear a rumor,
Go ahead.
and return to his own land.
Uh-huh.
And I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land.
Jump down to verse number 33. We're going to find out that that's what took place. But go ahead.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the king of Assyria.
What?
He shall not come into this city,
Uh-huh.
nor shoot an arrow here,
Nor what?
nor come before it with shields, nor cast a bank against it.
Uh-huh.
By the way that he came, by the same shall he return,
Uh-huh.
and shall not come into this city, saith the Lord.
The Lord said, look, he ain't coming into this city. He ain't going to even shoot an arrow into the city. He said, by the same way that he came, that's the way that he's going to return. And why is that? Why is he not coming? Go ahead.
For I will defend this city to save it for mine own sake, and for my servant David's sake.
And we're going to see how the Lord defended the city. Go ahead. What happened? Verse number 36.
Then the angel of the Lord went forth.
Not the angels of the Lord. But he say the angel of the Lord went forth and did what?
And smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000.
185,000 men was destroyed by one angel. Go ahead.
And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses.
Go ahead.
So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh. And it came to pass as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adramelech and Sharezer, his son, smote him with a sword. And they escaped into the land of Armenia. And so had his son reigned in this.
Because then the Lord said he was going to cause him to fall by the hand of the sword. But that angel killed 185,000 men. You can read this in recorded history. Like what they want to say is a plague came and destroyed the Assyrians in that night. Yeah, that plague was the Lord's angel. But turn over to Judges, the 13th chapter. We'll look at another example of the power of these beings. Judges, the 13th chapter. Because the angel has been sent to the parents of Samson before Samson was born, to give them, to tell them what it is that they were supposed to do in the rearing up of him. And he first appeared unto the womb of Samson's mother, 13, and pick it up at verse number 1, 13 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years.
Israel was disobedient, and God punished them by having them taken into captivity. And in this case, he said Israel did evil. He said the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines. God being a merciful God, he's going to raise up a deliverer. And that deliverer is going to be none other than Samson. But verse number 2, go ahead.
And there was a certain man of Zor, of the family of the Danites,
Go ahead.
whose name was Manoah,
Uh-huh.
and his wife was barren and bare not.
Go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman,
Uh-huh.
and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren and bearest not. but thou shalt conceive and bear a son.
Pick it up at verse number 6. You go ahead, because what did the woman do?
Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came unto me.
Go
And
ahead.
his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God,
What?
very terrible.
Uh-huh.
But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name.
So this angel appeared unto her. And she noticed what she said, a man of God came unto me. And she knew it wasn't an ordinary man, because she said, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God. Say, very terrible. Say, but I didn't ask him whence he was, and neither told me his name. Go ahead.
But he said unto me,
What?
Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son.
Uh-huh.
And now drink no wine nor strong drink,
Go ahead.
neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death.
So now Manoah is going to ask the Lord to send that angel back. Go ahead.
Then Manoah entreated the Lord and said, My Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. And God hearkened to the voice of Manoah.
Go
And
ahead.
the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field.
But the husband, he wasn't with her. Go
But
ahead.
Manoah, her husband, was not with her.
Uh-huh.
And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me, that came unto me the other day.
Drop down to verse number 15 and go ahead.
And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord,
Uh-huh.
I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee.
So he wants to make an offering for him. But go ahead. What he tell
And
him?
the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread, and if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord.
Uh-huh.
For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord.
He said, so when Manoah saw the angel, when he saw, he asked him to allow him, give him time that he could prepare a kid for him. The angel told him, he said, go down to detain me. He said, I won't eat of your bread. I'm not going to take anything from you. And if you offer burnt offering, you offer it unto the Lord. Verse 17, go ahead.
And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord,
Uh-huh.
What is thy name?
Go ahead.
That when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor.
What the angel tell him?
And the angel of the Lord said unto him,
You don't need to honor me. Go ahead.
Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is a secret?
Uh-huh.
So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering.
That's why he gave him his name, because you don't need to worship an angel. He said, when Noah took a kid, he said, with a meat offering and offered upon a rock unto the Lord. And what did the angel do? Go ahead.
And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on.
What happened?
For it came to pass when the flame went up toward the heaven from off the altar,
What did the angel do?
that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar.
Uh-huh.
And Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground.
Go
But
ahead.
the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife.
What did Manoah know at that time?
Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of
When
the
he
Lord.
saw him jump off in that fire and ascend up to heaven. Now you have men that will literally set themselves ablaze, burn themselves up, but ain't none of them standing up in heaven with that flame. But you can see this took place with Moses. Because when he heard the voice coming out of the burning bush, what did Moses do? He said, I will turn aside and see the cycle. The bush was burning, but it did not burn up. Then he heard the voice coming out of the bush burning. And it was an angel of the Lord in that bush that was burning. But turn over to Psalm 103. Because even though angels are extremely powerful beings, they still are commanded to obey God just as men are to obey God. Because they were created by God, just as men were created. Psalms 103. I'm going to read one verse. It just shows you how powerful God is. And even these powerful beings still have to obey him. 103. and verse 20. What did he say?
Bless the Lord, ye his angels, that excel in strength,
Go ahead.
that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word.
He said, you bless the Lord, ye his angels, that even though they excel in strength, he said that do his commandments, he said hearkening to the voice of his word. They also are to be obedient unto God. Turn over to Revelation, the 22nd chapter. The angel lets you know that they're required to be obedient to God's commandments. 22 in one verse. 22 and verse 9. Go ahead when you get there.
Then saith he unto me,
See,
see thou do it not.
John's talking about the angel replied unto him. He said, don't worship me. Read verse number 8 because you'll know what he's talking about, what this angel told him not to do. Go ahead.
And I, John, saw these things and heard them. And when I had heard and seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel which showed me these things.
That's why when Noah asked the angel, what's your name? So that when these things come to pass, I can honor you. He said, you don't need to know my name. It's a secret. You don't need to worship me. Worship God. But verse number 9, then said he unto me, see thou do it not. He said, for I'm thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren the prophets, and of what?
And of them which keep the sayings of this book, worship God.
He said, you worship God. You obey him, just as the angels are to obey him. Turn over to Psalm 78. But just like men elect not to obey God, he had some angels that decided they weren't going to obey God. And thus they are known as the evil angels. Psalm 78. Was Israel disobeyed God. And we're going to see as a result of that punishment what the Lord did to them. Psalm 78. We're going to pick it up at verse number 4. 78 and 4. Now, you know the story. How the Lord brought Israel up out of slavery, up out of bondage. And he led them in the wilderness. He sent an angel before them. Psalms 78, and pick it up at verse number 4. Go ahead.
How oft did they provoke him in the wilderness and grieve him in the desert?
Talking about Israel. Go ahead.
Yea, they turned back and tempted God and limited the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand,
Go ahead.
nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy.
Even though, again, he brought these people out with a mighty hand. Egypt at the time was the most powerful nation on the earth. And the Lord delivered this people. He plagued the Egyptians until the Egyptians let his people go. He said, but they remember not his power, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy. People will find themselves in a dire strait, and they'll call on the Lord. And they'll be fervent about their desire to seek him. But then when the situation eases around them, they tempered. Their desire for the Lord is tempered, and they go back to doing what they were doing. That's what happened with Israel. They didn't remember, keep in mind what the Lord had done for them. Go ahead.
How he had wrought his signs in Egypt and his wonders in the field of Zoan.
Go ahead.
And had turned their rivers into blood and their floods that they could not drink. He sent divers sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them.
See, they didn't remember how the Lord had plagued the Egyptians to force them to let his people go. Verse 46, go ahead.
He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust.
Go ahead.
He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to the hot thunderbolt. he cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble.
By doing what?
By sending evil angels among them.
Got mad with his people. Notice what he said. He said he sent some evil angels among men. Turn to Revelation, the 12th chapter. He allowed these evil angels to get at his chosen people. Revelation, the 12th chapter. We're going to see where these evil angels came from. We're going to see that angels have free will, just as men do. Revelation 12. Pick it up at verse number 7. 12 and 7. You go ahead when you get there.
And there was war in heaven.
Uh-huh.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought in his angels.
So you have a battle taking place. There are things that go on in the spiritual realm that we have no idea of. But it does have an impact in the physical. So it said you got a war taking place, and how angels war, I have no idea. Because it says that they came down. He said, but there was a war in heaven. It said Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon and his angels. Verse number 8. What happened to the dragon and his angels?
And prevailed not.
Uh-huh.
Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
So the dragon and his angels lost. He said, and the battle ensued, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels and prevailed not. They didn't win. But it says something else. It said, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Because we're going to find out that they was cast out. Verse number 9, go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out.
Uh-huh.
That old serpent,
Go ahead.
called the devil and Satan,
Uh-huh.
which deceiveth the whole world.
And he has deceived the whole world. It said, now Satan and his angel Michael cast them out. We're going to find out what they cast out to.
He was cast out into the earth.
Uh-huh.
And his angels were cast out with him.
So is Satan in hell? No, Satan is on this earth. And we're going to find out that his whole purpose is to send people to hell. So it's a battle that had taken place in heaven. Satan and his angels was fighting against Michael and his angels, and Michael and his angels threw Satan and the other angels that followed him out of heaven. Verse number 12, go ahead.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
Uh-huh.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
Why is that?
For the devil is come down unto you,
Uh-huh.
having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
He ain't got but a short time before he received the punishment that is due him for disobeying God. But pick it up at verse number 3, because he said he didn't deceive the whole world. Because when you see pictures of Satan being depicted, what do you see? You see this being with horns and a pitchfork and a tail. Pick it up at 12 and verse number 3. Because when he say Satan and his angels were cast out, we're going to get an idea of how many angels are down here on this earth. Reckon half. 12 and verse number 3. Go ahead.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Uh-huh.
And behold, a great red dragon,
Having what?
having 7 heads and 10 horns,
Uh-huh.
and 7 crowns upon his head.
And this red dragon represents none other than Satan. I'm not dealing with, when they talk about the 7 heads and 10 horns, that's just representing the entire Gentile dynasty. And 7 crowns upon his head. Verse number 4, go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven,
Uh-huh.
and it cast them to the earth.
Go ahead.
And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered,
Uh-huh.
for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
So this dragon was none other than Satan. He didn't have a literal tail. And it said he drew a third part of the stars of heaven. He persuaded a third part of the angels to follow him. And as a result, they was cast down to the earth. Michael and his angels kicked them out. Turn over to Ezekiel, the 28th chapter. We're going to see how Satan actually looked. Ezekiel, the 28th chapter. Because he called him an old servant. Because Satan had been around. How long has he been here? How long has he been? Since the day that God created him. How long is that? Nobody knows. But one thing we know, he created him before he created man. Because we're going to find out that Satan was in the Garden of Eden. Ezekiel, the 28th chapter. Pick it up at verse number 11. 28 and 11. But when people talk about Satan working around with a pitchfork and a tail, that's a depiction that is in there. 28 and 11. You go ahead when you get there.
Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man,
do what?
take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyre, and say unto him, saith the Lord God.
Now this king of Tyre, he's not talking about the literal king of Tyre. He's talking about the one who had the power, or gave the power to this king of Tyre. He said, Son of man, you take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyre and say unto them, what? Say unto him what?
Thus saith the Lord God, thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom and perfect in beauty.
Again, and this is when he was created. When God created him, he said he was full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Verse number 13. That's why, how you know that this is not a literal man that Ezekiel's referring to here. Go ahead.
Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God.
Look here, the king of Tyre wasn't in the Garden of Eden. Who was in the Garden of Eden was God, Adam. And Satan. The Lord tells you in Genesis, when he created the Garden of Eden, what was there? There was also the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Those trees were allegory. They were just symbolic. One, the tree of life, is the one who gave life, who created everything. That's none other than Jesus. He was the tree of life. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that was none other than Satan. He said, you've been in Eden, the garden of God. Go ahead. Every what? Every precious stone was our covering. The sardis, topaz, and the diamond, the pearl, and the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, the gold. And I tell people that's not saying that Satan is walking around with these minerals hanging off of him. What did they talk about when they talked about the appearance of these angels when men saw them? Brightness of their countenance. It's just talking about his appearance, not that these literal minerals of the earth are hanging off of him. He says, the workmanship of thy tabrets and thy pots was prepared in the day that thou wast created. Verse 14. He's going to tell you what this being is. Go ahead.
Thou art the anointed cherub that covered.
He's an angel. He said, thou art the anointed cherub that covered. Go ahead.
And I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God.
He was in heaven before the Lord had him thrown out. Go ahead.
Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created.
Till what?
Till iniquity was found in thee.
Pride is what ruined him. You can read in Isaiah the 14th chapter, and it tells you the problem with Satan. He wanted to exalt himself above God. He wanted to be worshipped as God was worshipped. That was his problem. Turn over to 1 Peter, the 5th chapter. 1 Peter 5. Because we read when Satan was cast down to the earth with the other angels that followed him. And Peter's going to tell us what Satan is doing. Because it says he didn't deceive the whole world. Because people will tell you that Satan, their concept of belief is that Satan is in hell tormenting people. Peter tells us what Satan is. What does he say? 5 and 8.
Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Satan
is not in hell tormenting nobody. Satan is on this earth. And his whole quest, his whole purpose is to send people to hell. He said, so you be vigilant, you be sober, you need to watch and pay attention. He said, because you have an adversary, you have an enemy, and think about it, you have an enemy that you cannot even see. And the power of Satan, people talk about, sometimes people get real crazy. I spit in Satan's eye, no, you will not. The only man, the most powerful man that's recorded in history was who? Samson, was it not? Samson killed how many? He killed 1,000 of the Philistines, did he not? And the spirit was on Samson. We read how the angel killed 70,000. And the other angel killed 185,000. Do you think Satan will have a problem with somebody trying to spit in his eye? Come on, people. If the Lord unleashed these angels on man, it wouldn't take but a minute before the creation would be all done. As the servant, Elisha's servant said, what we gonna do? Turn over to Job. Because he said he's walking about seeking whom he may devour. But he ain't just walking about doing his own will. Satan has to obey God. There's no battle between good and evil when it comes to the Lord and his creation. Satan does only what God allows him to do. Remember when he said Israel provoked him, he sent amongst them evil angels? Pick it up at 1 and 1. Job 1 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
There was a man in the land of Uz. His name was Job.
Go ahead.
That man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil.
He was a just and a righteous man. Pick it up at verse number 6 and go ahead.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
And who else was with?
And Satan came also among them.
So the holy angels, they came to present themselves before God. He said, now Satan was amongst them. Not that he was up in heaven, but he also had to report to the Lord. Because where is he at? He's on this earth. Verse number 7, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou?
Notice he didn't call him his son. And him and the other angels that followed him. He said, the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? What did Satan say? Go ahead.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
So this is where he's destined to be until his day of punishment on this earth. He said, where are you coming from? He said, he answered the Lord, from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it, seeking whom I may devour. Verse number 8, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job?
Go ahead.
That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feared God and eschewed evil.
He said, if you try to get at Job, what was Satan's reply? Go ahead.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for nothing?
Go ahead.
Hast not thou made an hedge about him?
Your protection is around him. Go ahead.
And about his house, and about all that he hath on every side.
Go ahead.
Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
But what now Satan's going to take the position, though, if you allow me to get at him, he'll curse you to your face. Go ahead.
But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face.
But listen to what Satan said. He said, but put forth thine hand now. Because Satan can't do nothing that the Lord don't allow him to do. He said, if you do that, then he'll curse you to your face. What was the Lord's reply? Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power.
Only what?
Only upon himself put not forth thine hand.
Don't you touch him. All that he possessed, though, you can have at it. But don't put your hands on it. Go ahead.
So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
So we know what took place. Job had 10 children. All of them were key. All of his possessions, his cattle, his livestock, he lost. Go right into the 2nd chapter of Job. He got at Job by getting at his possessions, but he could not take Job. He couldn't do anything to Job himself. We We see another example of that in the New Testament. What did Jesus tell Peter? He said, Peter, Satan desired to sift you like wheat. He said, I pray your faith don't fail you, Peter. He said, but when you convert, then you strengthen your brother. Job 2. And pick it up at verse number 1. Because the Lord is going to allow Job to expand his, the Lord is going to allow Satan to expand his assault against Job. 2 and 1. Go ahead.
Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord.
Go ahead. And
the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said,
what's Satan now?
From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down.
He's still on this earth walking about. Satan don't want to be here. This is punishment for him. He's out walking to and fro on this earth, walking up and down in it. Verse number 3, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job?
He's still boasting on Job. Go ahead.
That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man.
Go ahead.
One that feareth God and escheweth evil.
And still what?
And still he holdeth fast his integrity. Although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause.
Now did God move against Satan? Against Job? Did he do anything literally himself against Job? No. He allowed Satan to get at him. But he said, but he still held his integrity. Verse number 4, go ahead.
And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin.
What?
Yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face.
He said, if you allow me to get as his physical being, then he'll curse you. What was the Lord's reply? Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life.
Satan can only do what God allows him to do. There's no battle between God and Satan. Satan is walking around full of wrath because he know he ain't got but a short time. Jude, the first chapter. So we got an adversary that we cannot see. And thank God, he won't allow Satan and his angels to appear unto man. We're going to see why it is that we can't see them. 1 and 5, go ahead.
I will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this.
What?
How that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt,
what did he do to them?
And afterward destroyed them that believed not.
See, there's no such thing as you saved. At best, you're on the road to salvation. You got to endure to the end. He said, I'm going to put you in remembrance of this. And you knew how the Lord saved the people out of the land of Egypt, and afterward he destroyed them that believed not. What about the angels? Go ahead.
And the angels was kept not there first to stay,
but did what?
but left their own habitation.
How did they leave their own habitation? We know Michael threw them out, cast them down to the earth, did he not? He said the angels was kept not there first to stay, but left their own habitation. What a waste them. Go ahead.
He hath preserved an everlasting change unto the darkness, unto the judgment of the great day.
So they can't reveal themselves unto us. They can appear unto us as the good angel or holy angels, like Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James. That angel appeared unto them. Throughout the Bible, you see where angels have appeared unto man, but Satan, the only one he appeared to Adam and to Jesus. He just can't pop up. Nor his henchmen. They can't pop up. They are under the chains of darkness and will be there until the judgment of that great day. We're going to find out when that is. Turn to Matthew, the 25th chapter. And thank God they just can't pop up. Because if the Lord allowed them to really deal with us, you think you done seen crazy. 25. Because they waiting their punishment. And the Lord tells us what that is going to be. Matthew 25 and tell us when it's going to be. Matthew 25 and pick it up at verse number 31. Matthew 25 and 31. Because the Lord is talking about what's going to happen upon his return. Go ahead.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him,
Go ahead.
then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
He said that when the Son of Man, talking about Jesus, when he returns, because he's coming back. He said, when he come, he shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels, all those that didn't follow Satan, with him. He's going to sit upon the throne of his glory right here on this earth. The Lord is going to establish his kingdom and going to reign for 1,000 years. We're going to see that. But verse number 32, go ahead.
And before him shall be gathered all nations,
Uh-huh.
and he shall separate them one from another,
Go ahead.
as a shepherd divided the sheep from the goats.
Uh-huh.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
And what's going to happen with those that are on his right hand? The sheep, go ahead.
Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand,
Uh-huh.
Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
So they're going to get into God's everlasting kingdom. But drop down to verse number 41. Because what's going to happen to those on the left hand? Go ahead.
Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand,
Uh-huh.
Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire,
That was prepared for who?
prepared for the devil and his angels.
The lake of fire is eternal damnation, where the fire never quenched and the worms never stopped eating on it. But that was put into place for who? For Satan and his angels. Because Satan cannot die. So the punishment that God put in store, has in store for them, is everlasting damnation. And man, they just messed around and fell off into it. The lake of fire was designed for Satan and his angels. And they know what awaits them. They know they ain't got but a short time. Turn over to Daniel, the 10th chapter. We're going to see when Satan and his angels going to receive their faith. Daniel, the 10th chapter. Because the Lord said when he comes to set up his kingdom, he ain't going to have the one on his right hand go into the kingdom. Those on his left are going to go into the lake of fire. Daniel, the 10th chapter. Let's see what takes place right before the Lord sets up his kingdom. Because Daniel had been praying unto the Lord. And the Lord showed Daniel what was going to take place in the latter days. Daniel 10, we're going to pick it up at verse number 5. Daniel 10 and 5. Go ahead when you get there.
Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen,
Go ahead.
whose loins were girded with fine gold of Ephes. His body also was like the bird, and his face as the appearance of light.
So we know it's not a literal man Daniel talking about. What Daniel seeing is an angel. Go ahead.
And his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass.
Go ahead.
And the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Alone saw the vision. The men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves.
So they were witness to what Daniel was allowed to see. Go ahead.
Therefore I was left alone, and saw this great vision. And there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption. And I retained no strength.
Go ahead.
Yet heard I the voice of his words. And when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground.
Just like Ezekiel. But go ahead.
And behold, and a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hand. And he said unto me,
What?
O Daniel, a man greatly beloved,
Go ahead.
understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then
So we know that this is an angel. Who this is none other than the Holy Ghost who gave her. But I'm not dealing with that right now. Go ahead.
Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God,
For what?
Thy words were heard, and I am come for thy word.
Go ahead.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days.
Because how can a man hold up an anger for 21 days? This king of Persia was none other than Satan. So when Daniel prayed unto the Lord answered him. But then Satan held up his messenger. He said, the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. And then what happened?
But Lord, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me.
So Michael, the one that threw Satan out of heaven, he came and dealt with him here on this earth. He said, I remain there with the kings of Persia. But go ahead.
Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter day. For yet the vision is for many days.
Drop down to verse number 18 and go ahead.
Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man. And he strengthened me and said, O man, greatly beloved.
Yeah, pass that again, but go ahead.
Then now, peace be unto thee. Be strong. Yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened and said, let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me.
Go ahead.
Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come.
And the reason he called him the prince of Persia and the prince of Grecia, these were part of what's known as the Gentile dynasty. It began with the Babylonians, it passed to the Medo-Persians, down to the Greeks, down to the Romans. But the Lord had showed Daniel what was going to take place through the annals of time until the second coming of the Lord. Go right into the 12th chapter of Daniel. Because we talking about the return of the Lord. And right before the Lord comes back, an event is going to take place. And Daniel here tells us about it. Daniel 12 and verse number 1. Daniel 12 and 1. You go ahead when you get there.
And at that time shall Michael stand up.
Go ahead.
The prince was standing for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. Same time.
That's not going to happen but one time. A time that has never been nor shall ever be again. That's talking about the great tribulation. But he said at that time Michael was going to stand up. The great prince was standing for the children of thy people. It's going to be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Everyone that's found written in the book. Go ahead, verse number 2.
And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake.
Some to what?
Some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
So you're going to have a raising of the dead. Go ahead.
And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. They that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever.
He said, those that be wise. He said, they're going to shine as the brightness of the firmament. They're going to have the nature of a spirit being, because they will be those that come up in the resurrection. But now turn over to Revelation, the 20th chapter. Revelation, the 20th chapter. Because Daniel said, many that sleep in the dust are going to wake. We're going to see what's going to take place to those that came up in the first resurrection. Revelation 20. Pick it up at verse number 1. You go ahead when you get there.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
What did he do?
And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan.
And what did he do with it?
And bound him 1,000 years.
So we know who's been dealing with Satan all along. Has it not been Michael? He said, so I saw an angel come down from heaven, and he bound Satan. He said, but notice he bound him up for 1,000 years. Verse number 3, go ahead.
And cast him into the bottomless pit.
Did what?
And shut him up.
Just throw him into obscurity. Go ahead. Not forever. Years. Go ahead.
And set a seal upon him. that he should deceive the nations no more.
Uh-huh.
Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled.
And after the 1,000 years are fulfilled, what's going to happen?
And after that, he must be loosed a little sea.
So what the Lord is going to do is he's taking Satan and his henchmen completely out of commission for 1,000 years. It ain't going to be nothing but 1,000 years of peace on this earth when the Lord sets up his kingdom. Verse number 4, go ahead. What else did he say?
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them,
Uh-huh.
and judgment was given unto them.
Notice these people are not being judged. He said judgment was given unto them. These are the ones that awoke from the dust. These are the ones that came up in the first resurrection. Go ahead.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus,
Uh-huh.
and for the word of God,
Go ahead.
and which had not worshipped the beast,
Uh-huh.
neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands.
What they do?
And that they did reign with Christ 1,000 years.
This is what's known, what people call the millennium period. 1,000 years of nothing but peace. Go ahead.
Though the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished.
And this is what?
This is the first resurrection.
And the reason he said it's the first resurrection because you have, after the end of the 1,000 years, you're going to have what's known as the great white throne. And the rest of the dead will be raised. He said, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. He said, this is the first resurrection. Verse 6, go ahead.
Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection.
Uh-huh.
On such the second death hath no power.
And what are they going to do?
But they shall be priests of God and of Christ,
Uh-huh.
and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
And they tell you where they're going to reign at in Revelation, the 5th chapter, here on this earth. Verse number 7. But now what takes place after the 1,000 years are finished? Because remember, Michael came and he shut Satan up for 1,000 years. But then he was going to loosen his chains. Go ahead.
And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison,
And what is Satan going to go do?
and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
He's going to continue to do what he's been doing. And foolish man is going to continue to do what he's been doing, which is to follow Satan. Go ahead.
Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle,
And what happened?
the number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
Go ahead.
And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints of God, and the beloved city.
That beloved city is none other than Jerusalem. And what's going to take place? Go ahead.
And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them.
This is physical fire. And the fire that he's talking about is coming down from heaven. The Father is going to destroy them because Jesus is here on this earth. Verse number 10. But what happens to Satan at that time? Go ahead.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone.
Remember, the lake of fire was designed for Satan and his angels. When the Lord comes back, he's going to set up his kingdom here on this earth. He's going to reign for 1,000 years. At the end of the 1,000 years is when Satan and his angels are going to be cast into the lake of fire. He said the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where what?
Where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Because the beast and the false prophet, you read in Revelation, the 19th chapter, they was cast into the lake of fire when the Lord first returned. And they are still burning 1,000 years later. So Satan knows he has but a short time. See, when the Lord returns, then you have 1,000 years of none but peace at the end of that day. Because remember, to the Lord, 1,000 years is as one day, and one day is as 1,000 years. At the end of that day, then Satan is going to be cast into the lake of fire. Satan, time is the same to him as it is to God. He's an eternal being. He was created, but he doesn't operate by the confines of time like man does. But now turn over 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, and this is it. 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. We're going to see what's going to take place with the good angels. But the evil angels are going to end up in the lake of fire. But what about the good angels? We should know they're going to end up in the kingdom with God. But what about those who are found worthy to come up in the resurrection? 6 and 1. What is Paul warning? What is Paul admonishing these people about? Go ahead.
Dare any of you having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints?
In other words, he's telling them you should be able to judge righteous judgment amongst yourselves. Before the unbelievers. He said, dare any of you having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust or the unbelievers and not before the saints? You're supposed to know and to be able to execute righteous judgment. Go ahead, verse number 2.
Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you,
go ahead.
Are you unworthy to judge the smallest matter?
And when he said, do you not know that the saints are going to judge the world? He's talking about the world to come. The world that Jesus is going to establish on this earth. He said, do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, he said, are you unworthy to judge the smallest of matters? Verse number 3, what is he telling?
Know ye not that we shall judge angels?
You're going to be in charge of ordering the angels around. He said, know ye not that you're going to judge angels? Go ahead.
How much more things that pertain to this life?
Again, those that obtain to the resurrection will have power even over the angels. And that's angels, spirit being some good, some evil. I want to thank you for your time. We're going to stand up and face Jerusalem and close out.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
For he is good.
For his mercy endureth forever.
For his mercy endureth forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endureth forever.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
The King of Kings.
The King of Kings.
The Lord of Lords.
The Lord of Lords.
The Ancient of Days.
The Ancient of Days.
God of all spirits.
God of all spirits.
Our Savior.
Our Savior.
Our Redeemer.
Our Redeemer.
Amen.
Amen. Again, I want to thank everybody for their patience, and I thank those that are online and joined in with us. I ask that you continue to pray for one another. It's always important to do that. And continue to pray that Lord will bless us with being able to obtain a place, a permanent place to worship. Even though we've been able to purchase the building, we still have a task at hand. Until we're in there preaching the word of God, still pray. With that, I'm open up if anybody has any questions and answer to the best of my ability.